Okay, so like right now it's preparing to stream, but we're probably already live, just so you know.
It says live on there on YouTube, but I don't see where I can.
Yeah, it's setting it up and it's redirecting us right now. Okay, so there we are. Now we are. Oh, look, and it just came up on my notifications. Spirit Mail is live. So now if you press the play button, it should start to okay, so like right now it's preparing to stream. Okay, so don't I see I forgot to press the mute button.
Can you hear me? And I'm fine.
I can hear you and you're fine. Yeah, let's see if you reverberate.
We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to or not. I think I hit the right button.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you? We already have somebody in. Let's see. And Andrea. Good morning, Andrea or Andrea. Let's see. I wanted to change this to gallery mode, but I can't for some reason. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to see y'all on a Saturday morning. I'm hoping that you guys had a great Christmas if you celebrate Christmas.
Hit the right button.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you? Oh, okay. So you got to hit the mute button.
I am. Okay, hold on.
The one on the YouTube screen. Good morning, y'all. How are y'all doing? Either one is fine. Thank you, Andrea. You got a word. I do got a word. It's jump. We're getting into 2020. It was a word that I was given in a one-on-one reading earlier this morning, jump. So I think it's appropriate for everybody. Let's get ready to jump. 2020 is going to be a year, a 4-year. The number 4 is about firm foundations, building firm foundations. So it's a really good time to jump. Okay, are you still there with me, Sharon? Hello?
Okay, then I muted the wrong thing. That's what I was trying to double check.
Okay. So now you've got the screen muted on YouTube?
I think so. I'm not seeing a mute button at this point.
It's going to be down at the very bottom next to the, if you put your cursor right on the bottom of the screen, there's a pause button, and then a little bit over to the right, there's a mute button. And that's on the YouTube screen.
I might not be on the YouTube screen. I'm just on your.
Okay, that's fine. Hi, I'm Orion Starseed, and I have Sun, Moon, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, and Pisces. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to see y'all. I've been up all night. I know this has to be for me. Yes, jump. Miss Judy, yes, jump. Hi, Melanie. This is my life number 4. Ready to jump. Salsa girl, good. Jordan.
You hear me now? Is it an echo still? I think I did mute it how I was supposed to.
Yes, I feel, I think you're muted fine. I think everything is exactly right. I wish I could see you in my other screen, but I can't for whatever reason. Froggy, Kim says Froggy has already jumped. Van Halen, just jumped. Yes, that's a great song. Beth, it's nice to see you. Both coming through fine here. Thank you, Miss Judy. Moved yesterday as lead drawn to. Very good. I jumped at about 2 a.m. this morning after being fired. Oh, wow. Good morning, Tracy. Okay, so good morning, Jessica. Everybody, good morning. I'm so excited to see y'all. I hope everybody's Christmas was beautiful if you celebrated Christmas. I'm really excited about this morning. As y'all know, I always draw 3 names, but for whatever reason, not everybody ends up participating. Sometimes it's for technical reasons, which was the case for the other 2 that were drawn. But Sharon is here, and I'm super excited because she's very well-rounded, very, I'm gonna let her tell you who she is. Sharon, take it away. Tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey as of so far.
Hi, yeah, my name is Sharon. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I am here in Michigan. We are balmy Michigan right now. We don't have any snow, which is kind of nice. Just wanted to give you a little bit of my spiritual journey that I have. My mother is the one that has had the gifts and has all of her children have gifts, and I'm the only one that has actually honed into my gifts. And I am a healer. I heal at people and animals, and have been doing that for a period of time. But I full time. I'm a quilter. I dabble in everything just to make ends meet, just like anybody else does.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how did you get into Reiki?
I started in Reiki, actually. Interesting enough, I went to a medium, learning about a medium with my girlfriend, and I walked in. I'm always the early bird. I walked into the room, and the medium that was there had looked at me, and she just had this look on her face of, I don't know, I took it as shock. And when I walked in, she looked at me and she says, "Do you know?" And she goes, "No, we're going to wait. And I'm like, okay. And then I kind of felt like I was going to the principal office. What did I do wrong? And then we had gone further, and she wanted to speak to me afterwards. And she says, "Do you know the light you have around you?" And I said, "Nope. What are we talking about?" And she says, "You are a natural born healer." And from there, we became very fast friends and took classes from her, and I've become a Reiki master and been healing since, and didn't realize I've been healing all my life. People used to call me the baby hog and the baby whisperer and whatnot, and animals coming towards me and people coming towards me, and the calmingness that they would always be around me. I never realized it, but now that I realize it, I can look backwards and say, yep, definitely I was. I definitely, that was a magnet that was happening, just didn't realize it was why it was happening.
Wow. Okay. So we talked a little bit before we got on, and you were telling me about your upbringing. Your dad was supposed to be a priest, and let's talk about that story. Not necessarily about him being a priest. That's fine to include it, but your journey towards spirituality.
Right. Well, it was interesting because I was born and raised into a Catholic family. My father, as you said, was he had gone to become a priest prior, obviously, to marriage and children. And most of his family did. His mother had 11 children. They were all boys. 7 of them were stillborn. They were all boys. But every one of the boys went to become a priest, or one of them became a brother down in Dayton, Ohio. And my father, they were all very peaceful, all my uncles were very peaceful, solemn people. And you love being by them because they were the magnet of calm in a storm. And my father always said that we weren't necessarily to believe in anything other than what God directed us to. He wanted us to believe in God. And as long as we believed in God, that's all that really mattered. So he knew Catholicism, and that's how we were all raised. But if we deviated off of that, it was fine. Well, my brother deviated off, who was the altar boy, which I kind of crack up on. And he went into a born again Christian direction. My older sister's still in the Catholic Church, and my younger sister went into a total polar opposite. She's more into Vatican I, into Latin masses and learning Latin at a later age. So it's interesting to see the polar opposites of everybody. But within the family, I've always been the oddball. I've been the black sheep of the family of I didn't fit in, and that's okay too. I've never felt bad about that.
So you didn't go born again or Latin mass. You went a whole different direction.
Yeah, I followed going into more of a Native American direction. I just, what makes sense, and the balance of nature and the balance of life is how I lead my life. I mean, it's basic physics. For every action, there's a reaction.
And is that a Native American teaching, basically?
I've learned it basically as, whatever, nature will provide, just as God will provide, as to what we need and don't need, and becoming that minimalistic person. And it's amazing, as I go further in my spiritual journey, I'm becoming more and more minimalistic. Those materialistic things, it don't matter. You can't
Right.
take it with you. And that was so said to us as a young kids by my uncle. You know, you can't take it with you. Well, as a little kid, you're not going to understand what that means. But now
Right.
that I'm older, it's like, it as more and more people pass away within the family, it becomes more and more evident of, yeah, you can't take it with you.
Right. So, you also mentioned that you are very familiar with a lot of different religions. So let's talk about, like, for every action, there's a reaction or consequence or whatever it was you said just a while ago. It made me think of that scripture about reaping and sowing, because my background is born again Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's exactly what it made me think of. And I'm wondering how much of the native teachings, Native American teachings, are actually in line with Christianity and vice versa. Actually, that are woven through all of the religions.
Well, sure it is. And I think a lot of it is nothing more than common sense. You know, for everything that makes sense. I mean, if it doesn't make sense, our rules, our commandments, they're common sense. They're things of respect. Something that a lot of people aren't practicing today is respect. And I think that's the downfall to a lot of things, whether it be religion or anything every day.
Right. Okay. Okay, so another thing that we were talking about, especially in this community, right?
Mhm.
Before we go into that, let's talk about tarot. You said something very interesting to me, because I said, you know, like, how do you operate around tarot or whatever? And you said your spirit guides tell you no.
Right.
Talk about that a little bit.
When I went through my classes and whatnot for mediumship and everything else, that my spirit guides were just on short of screaming of don't do tarot. I can listen to tarot, not a problem, but I am not to practice it for other people. That is not my gift. My gift is healing. My gift is being able to heal others, whether it be person, any living thing, plants, animals, people, anything. And that's the gift in the direction that I have been told to go towards.
And that's it, period.
That's it, period. Yep. It's very, and it's interesting because prior to my spiritual journey, I had been divorced. And for anybody that watches the show NCIS with Gibbs, who smacks the back of the head of one of the coworkers there, just kind of straighten him back on his path. My entire divorce was presented in a direction where I was having Gibbs smack me in the back of the head, putting me back on that path, and it was God putting me back on that path and saying, this is where you need to go. So if I find myself deviating off, it will, God will definitely put me right back where I need to be. If you're listening and you're paying attention, you're being told.
So let's talk about listening. How do you know when you're listening?
Everything's calm. Everything feels right. Things just flow. It's just easy. There's no restriction. There's no pullback. You just, and you're happy. And the more you go into that direction and more listening and more paying attention to what's around you, it's so simple, it's stupid. It really is. It's amazing. And my little sister says to me sometimes, how is it you find parking spots that just happen to be at the right place, but they never do for me? And I'm thinking, well, if you listen once in a while about not being so agitated and things, maybe things will fall in your place. And it's
Right.
not cocky, it's just listening.
Right. And that's there's, whenever you said that, it's so simple, it's stupid. There's a saying that we used to say in our sales training: keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. And I always hated that word. As a matter of fact, if my kids said that word stupid in my presence when they were growing up, they'd get a whipping. Because I think it's
my child came home from school and she said, somebody said a swear word. And I said, really? What was the it starts with an S, Mom, and I'm not going to say it. And I said, really? I said, but I won't punish you. What did they? And I'm expecting, SH and going from there. And she says, stupid, Mom. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can handle that one.
I hated stupid and I hated shut up. I thought both those were so rude. I was very uptight when I was a mom. I don't know how my kids ever survived being raised in my household.
Oh, well, they were better for it, but mine was special
Yeah.
ed. Anybody that was, but that's my background too. So I take a big backward motion when that gets used.
Yeah. So, so we were talking earlier about in these spiritual communities, how we're not allowed to say certain words like, or we feel like we're not supposed to. Like somebody shared with you, somebody emailed me when I first started my channel. And if you're listening and you were the one who emailed me, no, I say this with all the love and respect, but she emailed me and said, you would gain so many more subscribers if you would just quit saying God. And for me, I just felt like there was no way I could, or quit saying God and quit saying God's a he. And for me, that is my relationship. And I don't understand why anybody who's on their own journey would expect me to alter the way I communicate to appease them. Because I would never ask anybody, because there's a lot of people who say creator, instead of God, they say creator, universe, spirit, they say the ancient one, the field, the force, all that. I would never ask them to alter the way that they do that.
Right.
So, and that's what we were talking about a little bit. So let's talk about that. You were talking about Reiki in particularly, that,
right.
Some people don't say I'm a Reiki healer because, why?
Well, I think some of them, they're not going through everyone learns their healing and from different facets. Reiki's not the one all do all, but generally there's a label placed in front of healer if you're doing that type of work. What I don't understand is here we are able to put our hair down of sorts to be able to talk with people that we are all from the same foreground and background of spirituality and feeling in a safe place. Whereas when we talk with our family that are not all in the same mindset, you tend to use those guarded words. But in this platform, it seems like that maybe has become such a practice that those words are now erased, not to be used. It's amazing to listen and people and watch what their comments and in a safe place like this. And my girlfriend and I, same thing. We talk about this all the time. People are afraid to use certain things because it's almost like they're saying, well, you're essentially the devil. And it's like,
Right.
I don't know, my family looks at me as if I'm the devil because I'm healing. Yet my sister-in-law can speak tongue.
Yes.
It's a moron. What?
Right. So we expect it. Yes, Millie and Jessica, I would never quit saying God to gain viewers, because for me, that's not even what this channel is about. I'm very grateful for the growth, but my whole objective is to take God out of the box that he's been put in. He, she, it, whatever anybody wants to say. Right. But back to what you were saying, Sharon, it's like, okay, yeah, so we can expect to be guarded and to be more respectful of their language when we're talking to people who are not on this particular journey. But on this journey, it's like, wait a minute, why do we have to? Because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's understanding is different. Everybody's relationship is different, right?
Oh, exactly. This discussion actually is interesting because my brother, when I had talked about mediumship with my brother, who's a born again Christian, that's just an absolute and positive no. No, you do not. And I said, Mike, but how can you say no to something for someone else that finds peace in a direction? Are you not supposed to pass that judgment to somebody else? Because if you're a Christian, judgment is the last thing you're supposed to be doing, yet it's the first go-to.
Right. It is absolutely the first go-to. And I've talked about that too in my journey. Whenever I was a born again Christian, especially when I was a new born again Christian, I became very judgmental very quickly because of all the rules.
Right.
But anyway, so I just had another question for you and I can't remember what it was. Doggone it.
It'll come back.
It'll come back eventually. Yeah. So tell us something else. What is your
My
I
want?
don't want to say pet peeve because I don't want to go down that road, that lane. I don't want to focus on that.
Well,
But what was your most freeing experience during your what you kind of awakened at an early age being in that Native American culture, I would think.
Correct.
But what's been your most freeing and liberating experience in all of your journey?
I would say right after, and it was later as time went on. I mean, I had a moment. I had actually a very sweet moment back when I was in 3rd grade. My parents had taken us to visit my mother's brother in Phoenix, and he knew some Native American people, and he knew the chief. Now, in today's world, this would never, ever happen, but I appreciate that it happened. My uncle took me, only me, not my siblings, dropped me off in the middle of the desert, met up with the chief of the tribe, and let me go off with the chief, never asked my mother, just dropped me off in the middle of the desert, and off I went with the chief. Had no idea what time or day I was coming back. And I had no fear. Went off in the desert, got to see things that most people, I got to see native art on walls that I don't even know if anybody still knows that they're there. I couldn't retrack my steps because I was too young. But that was a freeing moment. I never felt it more at peace than I did then.
That is amazing. Now tell me again, who dropped you off?
My mother's brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, in today's world, that wouldn't even be acceptable.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I wonder, and I never did ask my mother, but I wondered if my mother ever feared, where was I? Or anything.
Right.
But in the day, we all kind of took care of ourselves. We knew when the lights came on, we had to be in the house. I didn't know where we were. Just we knew the timeline. We had to be back in the house. So I don't know if there was necessarily a fear at that point.
Right.
But since then, when I was married, interestingly enough, my connection has always been with nature. We used to go do wildlife photography trips where we sold our pictures and whatnot. And when we were doing our trips where we were in the middle of nowhere in places nobody would be, nature tended to come really close with me, and I connected, especially with whales. I connected with our eyes. Our eyes would connect, and it's like we saw each other inside and out as they'd be passing, slowing up and passing by. An experience that would never happen again.
Wow. Real quick, I want to go to the comments. Liz Mackey, yes, we're saved by faith in Jesus through the grace of God, no longer subject to the law. That not every Christian, some Christians still don't understand that. And please note that whenever we're talking, I am not ever going to bash Christianity because I was one. And it's not about that for me. It's not about that at all, because everybody's journey is different. And there are some Christians who can actually go to church every Sunday, some every day of the week, and love unconditionally like Jesus did. And that is my goal, is to be able to love like Jesus did, and to be able to free people the way that Jesus did. But I couldn't do it in church because I got too bogged down with the laws and the rules. I'm the air sign that it's like, I got to stand by these rules and be this perfect person. I didn't understand, I understood the grace, but anyway, for me, it didn't work. Anyway, okay. So back to you, Sharon. Yes. What is the thing that you fear most? Do you have fear?
Of course. You have to have fear in order to continue on. Acknowledge your fear. so you can try to move past it, but that doesn't mean there isn't a new fear that's going to come up to replace it. That's the balance that we live in life. Fear will always be there. My biggest fear is with my family. I have my 3 siblings, and I'm closest with my younger sibling. And my older 2 siblings pretty much are on their own. They pretty much, because of the age difference, they're older. They kind of had their own life, and then my little sister and I were born, so we were always closer. But my little sister, for her not to understand what I do and why I do would be my biggest fear.
Right. So, but you don't fear for her life the way she's leading it.
No. No, I welcome anybody with what they have. You learn by everybody else, by welcoming other religions, other past, whatever life that people have. I've been with people that, when I was doing my wildlife photography, I walked into a log camp. I had a Native American chief that came in and sat down at the picnic table at their cafeteria. And I was literally in the middle of nowhere, but I had to eat because I have low blood sugar. And my husband and I sat at that table, and I was literally asked if I wanted to purchase children to bring back home, because they are so poor and so desperate for their children to have a better life.
Wow.
Do I judge that person? No.
No.
They wanted nothing more than having more for that person's, for their tribe and their children. I would never ever judge, but you learn so much from other people who have everything or who have nothing.
Right.
And there's so much to be gained by learning if you just listen. It doesn't cost you anything.
Doesn't cost anything. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to take just a little quick break here and let everybody know. Tuesday night, set your clocks or your notifications or whatever. Tuesday night, January 7th. That's not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, January 7th. I will be having an astrologer on the Daily Mail episode. We're going to air it at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and she's going to be talking about the solar eclipses and what is the big fear about the Saturn return, that, you know, people, whenever they say, oh my God, it's my Saturn return and all that stuff. She's going to address all those things. And we will, if you have a question ahead of time about astrology, email me at spiritmailtarot@gmail.com, and we'll try to get those questions answered during the interview. But we will be doing that at 6 p.m. Tuesday night, January the 7th. Her name is Maxine Taylor. She was the first licensed astrologer in the United States and in Georgia. So she's from Atlanta. Okay, and back to you. What do you do with that fear about your sister, about her understanding you, Sharon? How do you overcome that? Do you just live with it?
No, we talk about it. There's things that get brought up, any buzzwords that come up, I will address it at the time. I've learned not to let it sit and rumble inside of me, because it just festers and becomes bigger than what it should be. So generally I'll talk about it with her, maybe not right at that moment, but probably later on in that day or the next day, I will openly discuss and say, you know, what's your real feel about this? You know, here's where I'm thinking or translating what you said. Is this what you really meant by what you said? And we'll discuss it, and it gets it out of my head and off my chest.
That's good. So y'all have an open communication.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Always have.
That's really good. Do you ever have fear about anything that you can't talk to the other person about?
Well, nobody in my family knows I'm a medium. For one, there's things you just don't discuss because there's no open platform for it. And it's interesting because my mother who had given all the gifts to us children, and she went to a medium all the time and read and listened to and whatnot, and she'd make lighthearted of it, But my mother, being that she just passed away this past April, it was one of the most beautiful experiences, because when everybody else, because I was able to visually see everybody that was coming to see her. So she'd say, "Do you see Dad over there?" And she'd scooch, and, "Dad's over here. Do you see over here? This is Aunt blah, blah, blah. Do you see?" Everybody's nice. And I told her before that time that everybody's going to be coming, and everybody was starting to rail around her. And she and I, being that she was in hospice, when I was there by myself with her, she could openly speak about people that were there without fear. And
Wow.
she was able to have her journey of who was coming and who was, she was just amazed, I think, with how many people showed up. And it was enjoyable, but it was kind of funny, because my mother would never say medium. She'd say the weebie jeebie. That was the code word. So, and when she and I would openly talk about a medium, because no one knew my mother talked about mediums, she'd say the weebie jeebie. My family didn't know who that was. My
Right.
siblings had no idea. So we would openly talk about, "Oh, did you see the weebie jeebie the other day?" As I was going through classes, and I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, any messages?" I'm like, "No, not today, Mom." We would be able to talk about it out loud without in code. But towards the end, I was able to it was hard to try and find the words for my siblings to do what my mother needed to have happen in order for her to pass. The
Right.
hardest one was my little sister. But she's like, "How did you know?" They're always, "How do you know, Sharon? How do you know?" And it's like, I don't know, I'm just a lucky guesser, and I leave it at that. And they don't know any wiser.
I tell you what, there's so many questions that are going through my mind right now. Not questions necessarily, but comments that I think you would speak well on. Let's go with this. Let's go with, as a medium, have you had an opportunity, and this might not be the right way to put the words together, but have you had an opportunity to talk to anybody about their coming back, like reincarnation?
Actually, today's the day that I will hear my mother showed up in my girlfriend's kitchen and told the two of us that today I am going to be going to my sister's house, and her daughter is coming in town with her little one. And no one knows, but supposedly she is pregnant, and she is pregnant with a reincarnation of my mother.
I love it.
So it's going to be interesting to hear about the pregnancy that she swore up now she wasn't getting pregnant with the second one. And she was adamant about wanting everybody to be at the house, which is not the norm. So it's like, yeah, I think there's going to be a message said to all of us, but it'll be interesting.
That will be very interesting. Have you ever visited anybody who remembered in person, or in the not in spirit, like not a transitioned person, but have you ever visited with a person who remembered their past lives?
I've come in passing of a couple people who have, and I think the ones that were more sincere is what people would consider being crazy people, because they don't believe in what they're saying. There's, God forbid, that you have a past life that you could actually say something about. My daughter swears up and down.
Wait just a second. Okay, guys, y'all tell us in the comments, do y'all believe in reincarnation and past lives? Y'all say yes or no while we're having the rest of this discussion. Go ahead, Sharon.
My daughter actually has always been attracted to Egypt, and that's where she's drawn towards. And she knows that she knew from very young that she was reincarnated from Cleopatra time frame. A specific person, don't have the name, but she knows things she shouldn't know. And I was very much the same way with myself with native upbringing.
So you feel like your past life may have been in a native?
Oh, most definitely. I would say I was probably a shaman more than once. I know
Yes.
things I should not know.
Yeah.
I've been taught it.
Well, I'll just say this. Somebody told me that I used to be a temple dancer. And I laughed because my mom always said that whenever I was a little kid, she couldn't keep me dressed. I would always be stripping my clothes off and, like in my diapers, just running around trying to whatever. But, and the temple dancers, I think were the strippers of that day. I don't know. But that's all I know. That's all I understand about my past life.
Well, the temple dancers also were people that actually appreciated the bodies. They welcomed their bodies as to what they had. There was no shame of what they owned.
Yeah, well, too bad that didn't come in with this life too, right?
Oh, come on. You got to be comfortable in your skin.
That's right. Okay, so tell me, let's talk about, and guys, y'all can say something about this too. Daisy Sky wants us to say something about a star seed. I don't know anything about a star seed. And so we're going to put that on hold for just a minute. We can come back to it, but I want to know about walk-ins. Are you familiar with that term, walk-in, and what maybe, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, during medium readings?
No, well, it maybe during a meeting. No, a walk-in, from what I understand, is somebody who wants to reincarnate, but they don't want to go through childhood again. So they'll, like in somebody's near-death experience, they'll swap places or something similar to that.
I've heard of it, but I never experienced it with anyone.
Okay. Okay. So we'll save that for somebody else who might have experienced it or talked to anybody about it. Well, let's talk about Daisy's comment about starseeds. Are you familiar with that?
Another one I've heard, it seems to be a popular term. I'm not quite sure where it came from prior to, I know the children, their children are star children that are happening so that they will put a more positive energy into the world with the chaos that we're living in right now, with all the negativity that we're dealing with, the lower energies. They're supposed to be the ones to balance out everything going on. But Starseeds, is that another term for the next generation coming up? Is that, they term the children as to what they're going to do on with the world when they are born?
Like whenever they were talking about the indigo children, now they're saying starseeds. Is that what you're saying, or is that what you're liking it to? Yes. Okay. See, I don't know. I don't know. And as a matter of fact, whenever I first started looking at all these different spiritual paths that people were on, I kind of got intimidated with the term starseed. And then it occurred to me, well, aren't we all kind of made from the same thing that stars are, which would make us all star seeds maybe. But then I feel like star seeds have some other kind of, like they have a specific mission other than just what we all did. So I don't know, but listen, Daisy Sky and Shauna Rama, if you guys are star seeds, put your name, email me your contact information. Email me at spiritmailtarot@gmail.com, because I can get you guys on here so y'all can explain that to us, because I'm interested in knowing everything about everything. I'm comfortable in my practice. I was intimidated at one time by all that other stuff, but I'm comfortable where I am. Somebody, Lean Lovestorm, asked, she says she just joined. The other woman on here, her name is Sharon. Is it Moana?
Moana, yes.
Yes, Sharon Moana, and she's telling us a little bit about her spiritual journey and where her fears lay and all that other stuff. We're talking about all that. So what is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you in your spiritual journey? as far as spirit goes?
I don't know about funniest, but weirdest is I had the movie Ghost, where they had he had taken the penny and brought it up, and he actually went within the body in order for her to experience another kiss, another hug, another dance.
Right.
I've never been, I've had my body, someone to go through and be in my body to go through. When I was in a restaurant in Texas, my girlfriend in El Paso took me to, I think we were in Albuquerque. It was supposed to be a haunted place. Well, the woman was still there, and the woman did go right in and took over my body. And I could feel her like as the day was long. And that was prior to me learning everything. I was just starting to learn my Reiki ability at that time with teachings. And my guards weren't up as far as they needed to be up. Well, the other time is when I actually did a medium reading, and I had the husband of the lady literally encompassed, I allowed him to encompass my body so he could give her a loving touch. And her, putting out the hands, and to hold the hands in a specific way that the two of them always, wouldn't be just shaking hands or laying your hand down. It was a specific mannerism that he would do with her, and it just made her melt.
Wow.
So that was pretty amazing.
So, okay. So before I want to ask about spirit possession. So, but hang on just a second. I want to address Daisy. Daisy, I believe that sometimes we make our contracts to go through that so we can actually be able to help others. And if that is the case with you, then you were a very brave soul coming in, knowing that you were going to subject yourself in the human body to that kind of pain and stuff. And I hope that you do email me, because I would absolutely love to interview you. Okay, Sharon, back to you. Let's talk about that spirit possessions. Like you said, whenever y'all were at this haunted house, the ghost kind of just came into you. But then in a mediumship instance, you allowed the man to come in. Did the ghost ask your permission before he or she took over
Nope.
came into your being? No,
not at all. It was interesting because according to the story that we were told, is this was a ranch back in the day, and it was a big Western ranch. They raised animals and whatnot, and the lady was killed because she was the mistress of the man that owned the ranch, and her spirit is still there. And when I entered the room, in which they know the hauntings are happening, they're very well aware. In fact, one of the shows had a big thing about the big write-up that they were there and investigating about the spirit being there. I wasn't scared. I'm not scared to go into those places, but my girlfriend and her daughter and I were in the room, and we were being shown by the waitress. And as soon as I said, she's still here, because I'd walked around the room, I was trying to get a feel of the energy that was in there, and I knew she was in the room. As soon as I said she was in the room, that waitress was out of the room as fast as not.
wow.
My girlfriend and her daughter and I were in the room. She goes, "Where is she?" I said, "She's right here. She's inside of me." And they just freaked out. And I'm going, "It's okay." She was a positive person. She had, good high energies about her. She just is just roaming inside that room. That's where she is encapsulated into.
Wow.
And I asked her if she wanted to leave, and she doesn't.
That was my next question. Did you offer to help her get into the light, like a rescue medium?
I did. And she says she wanted me to let other people know to stop trying to force her with assault and everything else.
Wow.
They're trying to shove her out of that. They're trying, there's spirit that likes being here, and there's spirit that needs to go back.
Right.
She's able to be here.
So whenever we hear people talk about, ghosts are like trapped, they're trapped here. That
Right.
may not be true. That it may be like her, where she just likes being here.
Correct.
Yes. Wow. Very interesting. So let's talk about we're kind of going off on a wild subject, which I'm real excited about. Let's talk about ley lines. Is this place where this goes, is it on a ley line? Are you familiar with ley lines?
Not in that terminology. Explain it to me.
Okay, and I might not be saying it right, but ley lines is like these lines all across the earth where there's these super electromagnetic energies pulsating throughout the ground area or whatever, and they're supposed to be like really awesome portals for the spirit world to come and go, and a lot of them are attracted to those areas for some reason, and I could be way off. Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're not. My girlfriend's closet has one.
Oh, wow.
So I that I know. But no, this was just her as an incident that she was in where she was. It wasn't a place, a portal of people coming in and out. It was simply just her where she resided.
And she wanted to be there.
She wanted to be there. She enjoyed all the company. They made that room to be a room where you could, and of course you pay extra for it, for the haunting dinner to be had and everything. But she enjoys the mysteriousness. It's like that mystery dinner for her, to listen to everyone talk about, well, maybe she's this and maybe she's that, and guesswork. And she enjoys the camaraderie of what's being talked about inside the room with her. And the people that she doesn't like the discussion generally don't stay in the room very long, because she sends the energy, negative energy, so they scoot out of there. So she controls that room.
She can what?
She controls that room as to what's going to stay and what's going to leave.
Wow. So in other words, if they're friendly to her, she's good, but if they're not friendly to her, they're out.
They're out. She just makes it uncomfortable for them. She's not mean. She just makes it uncomfortable, and she wants it done.
Wow, very interesting. Cindy Ward, I'm looking at your comment recently doing quantum healing using Dr. Bradley Nelson's emotion code. I learned how to use muscle testing, dowsing, and releasing trapped emotions and everything attached. Many were inherited. So with that said, let's talk about that, Sharon, about how some of the fears or the emotions that are trapped within us, how they come from past lives. Is that something that you have had any kind of experience with in?
Not that I've experienced myself. I mean, I wonder sometimes some of my fears I have, like I have a fear of heights as I'm older, but I never did as I was younger. So I don't know if it's because of me aging or because of a past life.
See, and I have a phobia about needles, like super bad. So I joke and say I must have been put to death by lethal injection in a past life or something, because I am like scared of needles. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that Dr. Bradley Nelson, and I encourage everybody, if you have not read his information or watched any of his videos, I encourage you to go do that, because there's definitely he gives a lot of information and resources that you can start helping yourself without even spending any money to release trapped emotions. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. I'm sorry, Sharon. This is why live makes me a little nervous, because I'm back and forth in those comments. What was have you had any scary experiences with quote unquote negative energies?
Oh yes. That would be, and remarkably, it's the same uncle that is my mother's brother. I've had to experience him because he is family. He was a negative energy while he was here on Earth. And as he got older, he got meaner and he got more negative, and to a point for where I feared him on Earth as to doing something very dangerous and very lethal, because that's where his mindset was going towards. And where my siblings, my brother is the only one that found a closeness to him. He knew the negative was there, but there's something gravitates him to be connected with him. And I think it's just likenesses of each other's personality of in a certain direction, not a bad one, but just where they were at. But then I had my first medium time. Every time I had a medium come in with, for whatever reason, my family, when I go for a mediumship reading, my family comes in so strong, they won't allow you to talk to somebody else that is on the other side. They want to talk to me, and they make a point of not being dismissed.
Wow.
So
They're bossy.
they come in very strong, and I find it very interesting. Well, one of them, the medium had her protection up, doing the medium, only wanting the highest minus for the reading in itself, and having the spirit guides and everyone protect, and all the archangels and angels protecting her. My uncle came in, but he came in behind an archangel. He wasn't allowed to come close to her because of her negative energy. And while he came in, I could feel his energy in that room. And I just, it just made, the butterflies, the tingling in my body, just, I felt dirty. I wanted him gone. And I looked at her and I said, gone. I don't want him here. I don't care what he has to say. It is nothing going to be good anyways. Send him away. So she sent him away. And then when my mom had passed, I can remember, I know my mom wasn't real happy with me because she was still here on this plane. And she said to me, she says, well, my brother is right here sitting down. He's cold. Give him my blanket. And I said, nope, he don't deserve it. He ain't getting it. It's fine. He'll be fine. And I totally dismissed him the entire time he was trying to come in, with my mother even passing.
Wow.
It was just, it's like you got to take a shower. The negativity, I will clear myself. I go through the whole gamut of saging, and nothing to be had with him.
Right. Now, do you think that on the other side, is he working on transmuting any of those energies within himself?
From my understanding, everything he's doing on the other side, he is being kept with all the lower energies.
Oh, wow.
He is not working towards positive energy. He's staying on the lower energies.
Wow.
And my mother, who is so close to him, has no contact with him since she's been over there.
Wow. Very interesting.
And I also find it interesting, my mother, with what she's doing on the other side, was very much the same thing that we all used to joke about over on this side, and that is she's working with the children. And on this plane, she was a baby hog. So I find it interesting that she's correlated what she did here on Earth to be her favorite thing to do, and that's for being with babies, that she's doing very much the same thing over there. She's handling all the children before they come on Earth.
Wow. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
Like rocking them before they come.
That's right.
Okay, so Lean Love Storm, and guys, we're getting ready to wrap up here. We only have a few minutes left, so if y'all have questions, type them in. Lean, and I hope I'm saying your name right, Lean or Lene Love Storm, is wanting to know, is there any way you can ease another person's energy before giving them some news that they might find shocking? Before we do that, Gigi, I love hearing other people's, you said that you always thought it was normal to walk out or fly out of your body. Email me, because if you would be willing to do an interview, I think that would be a cool topic. But yeah, so Sharon, is there any way, how do you go about easing another person's energy before giving them some news that they might find shocking?
I usually, that's a real hard one. You tiptoe through it. It's like, well, did you know this? And did you know that? And you just kind of raise your voice up and down, which tends to melodically calm a person.
Right.
And then be able to give them the news of whatever has been. And sometimes if the news is so bad, you might step it in the direction. I know there's been times in a mediumship that I've given messages that isn't as full blast as what it was presented to me as, because they're not gonna be able to handle that full blast. You dabble into it and let them figure it out. And I always tell everybody, this is information that's coming from your loved ones. You take it with the grain of salt that it is, and you do with that information of what you want. Remember, information is nothing more than a grain of salt. And if you explain that to most people, then they take it as more lighthearted, not so, catastrophic is what it could be.
Right. Okay, and Shauna Rama is saying, please talk about the importance of forgiveness in this life and holding on to bitterness and etc. And I don't know if possibly the reason she's asking that is because of the way you were talking about your uncle. Do you have bitterness toward him, or do you just choose not to allow his energy in your space? Tell me about that, and talk a little bit about forgiveness and your ideas about that.
Well, there's been a lot of people in my life that I've had to forgive. My ex-husband, my uncle, a few other people. You learn to let go. And I've always, my exit out of most people that have not put the greatest of energy around me has always been, you live your life how you want. That's great. I love it. Great. Have at it. I can forgive. I don't forget, but I can forgive. There's a difference.
Right.
Forgive and I let go and I let them move on. But you don't ever want to forget, because you don't want to repeat that same circumstance that's been placed in front of you.
Correct. Yeah. And I have a video, I don't know, Shauna, if you watched that, but I did a video on boundaries, and I think maybe forgiveness too. But yeah, forgiveness doesn't mean that we have to go sit across the table and have dinner with them. Definitely not. Even Jesus said about the lady in the town square who was being stoned for adultery. He said, after he told everybody, you who's without sin, cast the first stone. Then he told her, go and sin no more, you're forgiven, or whatever. That it wasn't about, you don't have to be best friends with the person.
Right.
But anyway. Okay, so could I have a reading, Raven Dove, could I have a reading with one of you ladies? You can email me for my rates and stuff. And Sharon, do you have a way for people to get a hold of you for mediumship readings or Reiki healings?
They can get a hold of me on my address of quiltqueen4
You want to say that again one more time real slow, and you can pin it, you can put it in the comments and I'll pin it also.
Okay. My address is quiltqueen4 and
Okay. And that's for Reiki healing or mediumship reading.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being a part of our roundtable discussion. I am so excited that you allowed us to have you as a visitor. And you have contributed so much to this community, and I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to do a real quick PS. Guys, I don't do yes or no readings during these live streams. That's not what this live stream is about. This is just about us visiting and learning a little bit about each other and our spiritual journeys, answering questions for each other about those journeys. I don't do card readings for individuals during my live streams. But right now we want to say God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, thank you for our roundtable sessions. And we'd like to know, what is the PS? What else do you have to add to this message that we might have forgotten to say or could have said better or anything like that? We thank you for clear and concise messages. We thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And we especially thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. What is the PS? Hey guys, new year, new journey, jump, right? Look, the little fool, he's about to jump. That was our word at the beginning. It was the word for one of my private readings before the round table. And I felt it was very appropriate for this same session. Here you go, jump. The fool says do so too. Look, and this is about independence. I feel like 2020 is going to be a whole nother kind of year for all of us. that we're going to be finding some independence, whether that be in our spiritual house, in our financial house, in our relationship house. We're going to be finding a lot of peace and a lot of independence in who we are. And a lot of the fear is going to dissipate, right, Sharon? Because when we know who we are, the fear does dissipate, right?
Almost definitely.
Almost definitely. Absolutely. So I feel like, and that's where peace comes in. And you can see her independence is noted by the dove sitting on her hand, or the falcon sitting on her hand. She's got peace. And look, there's lots of options. We're going to talk about that just for about 2 seconds here. There are so many paths to God. There are so many different ways that people address God, that people worship God, that people operate in their gifts. There's so much of everything, and not one of them is the right way or the wrong way. They're all the exact right way for you whenever your ultimate goal is to get to God and to be able to operate in the gifts that God has endowed in each and every single one of us in our DNA. So there's lots of ways out there. So nobody's way is better than anybody else's way. And that's what I love about Roundtable, is that we can talk about that, and that it's okay for Sharon to say Reiki healing, and it's okay for me to say God. And it's okay just all the way around. Sharon, any last words before we say goodbye?
Just everyone have a blessed New Year.
A blessed New Year. Absolutely. And yes, Kim, jump into independence, and Happy New Year to everybody. Again, I hope y'all all had a super duper Christmas. I can't wait to see what 2020 brings all of us. Thank you so much for being a part of Spirit Mail, and I will see you guys later. Have a super duper day. Now I got to figure out how to end it. Bye, y'all.
Bye.